Good evening. How many times have you driven downtown to your favorite small business or coffee shop, parked your automobile curbside, and ran in to get a new pair of shoes or a triple latte, and come back to your car and found that your left side driver's side mirror completely shirt off? This brief informative speech seeks to unpack the dynamics of curbside parking and how curbside parking has really proliferated not only in the United States, but more specifically here on the West Coast, here in Portland, Oregon. So most Americans, in fact, according to the most recent statistics, 99% of Americans choose to use a car to get from point A to point B. So that only leaves 1% of the American public using a form of transportation other than the automobile to do their daily chores, to get to work, to get to school, etc. Because most urban environments, and specifically Portland, Oregon, its center core, was designed not to accommodate curbside parking, how have automobilists and motorists and pedestrians adapted to the increase of the appeal of curbside parking? Well, there are two methods to responding to curbside parking. The first has been the placement of parking meters. Now, parking meters can range from the very inexpensive to the expensive, but what has shown to be the case, according to recent studies, is that the cost, even an exorbitant cost for, say, $7 an hour. For instance, there are some neighborhoods in San Francisco that charge $7 an hour to park curbside, has shown to only reduce curbside parking density by a mere 25%. So clearly making people pay more to park curbside hasn't been working. So the other plan of attack, as it were, to decrease curbside parking has been the building of parking structures. And these parking structures, and I'm sure we've all seen them and are familiar with what they look like, can range from the very small to the very, very large, anywhere from 2 or 3 stories to, in some cases, 10 to 15 stories high. Interestingly, parking structures have only shown to decrease curbside parking by 10%. In fact, according to the NTSB, individuals who park curbside are more likely to park 4 times longer than individuals who park in a parking structure. So with this being the case, the implementation of paying to park curbside and the building of parking structures used to hopefully appeal to people to want to park in a building that maybe is easier to get in and out of and wouldn't lead to property damage on their automobile. Both of these ideas have been implemented, but have been shown not to work with a resounding success. And because of this, curbside parking continues to be, despite its obvious drawbacks, very, very popular. Curbside parking presents not only the motorist, but the retailer who has parking nearby with two very particular issues. Number one, because of the popularity of curbside parking and the longevity of individuals parking curbside, you have retailers caught in a real catch-22. On one hand, they want to provide curbside parking because it's appealing to their clients, but yet on the other hand, because the clients are spending so much time parked curbside, you're not rotating cars and consequently customers quick enough to really to really make much of a profit, or so some studies indicate. So currently, curbside parking is undergoing close scrutiny and examination from not only the largest federal agency who deals with transportation issues, which is the National Transit and Safety Board, the NTSB, but also such regional and local planning organizations, such as here in Portland, the Metro government is looking at curbside parking issues, as well as mass transit, and as well as developers. Curbside parking continues to be a hotly contentious issue here in Portland, and will continue to be as long as developers, consumers, and retailers all come together as stakeholders in really flushing out how to effectively look at curbside parking, not necessarily as a negative, but as a product of modern city life. My next speech will cover certain ideas on how to effectively implement productive curbside parking that will lead to greater turnover in automobiles and customers parking curbside. And will show that when all stakeholders can come together and put their heads together and deal with this issue, curbside parking will no longer be an issue that is looked at negatively, but rather will be a positive part of the urban experience.